as grievance airing sessions. But I think that there are actually a number of areas in which Iranian and US interests converge, and I think first and foremost that's in Iraq, and you'll hear this from the Iranian point of view, but unfortunately, once the nuclear program, became almost tangential after the November 2007 National Intelligence Estimate, which said that Iran had a covert nuclear program, but it had halted it in 2003, and sort of blew a hole through the Mad Mullahs theory that Iran, essentially one of the least one of the findings that was given the least amount of attention was the fact that Iran is making a decision on its nuclear program on a cost-benefit analysis, and that if given an offer that was perceived as credible, they would be willing to maintain this suspension of their nuclear weapons program. I think that was a very important point that often gets overlooked. It's not just the fact that they halted their covert nuclear program, which there are questions about whether or not Iran even had a covert nuclear program. But I think that finding was really important, and really since then we've seen a shift in the administration to focusing much more on Iran's role in Iraq, blaming Iran for violence there, and I think we have to look at that also from the Iranian perspective. I think we have to have a better understanding of why Iran wants a role inside of Iraq. Well, it shares a long border with Iraq. It fought a long war with Iraq. And there are live memories on both sides of the equation about this war. And so Iran, I think we can best characterize in terms of Iraq as basically hedging its bets. It wants to see, a government which is very friendly to it, which the Maliki government is. And so, but this Iran wants to see a stable Iraq. And when I met with the foreign ministry when I was there this spring, they basically said, we want U.S. troops out. That's the solution. Out of Iraq, and we can help you do that. They said, we can help bring stability to Iraq. But I think that there is, of course, on the Iraqi side, I believe that the Iraqis need to have a good say in what happens in their own country as well, and Iran certainly should not be, trying to overextend its influence, because that will certainly come back on them, and I think in some ways it is starting to. But the Iranians are reaching out to the United States saying, or have reached out to the United States, look, we can be helpful in terms of securing Iraq and allowing you to withdraw your troops. So I think, that's something that really hasn't come out in the American mainstream media, is that there is actually an opportunity there, and that could be used, the situation in Iraq could really be used to create more trust and to work out, to help build a relationship that really has been strained for more than half a century. I honestly believe that really the situation between the US and Iran, it will be viewed eventually as a blip in history. The Iranians originally reached out to the US in, I believe it was 1886, to establish diplomatic relations. And Iran has always viewed the United States, or had viewed the United States as someone that it could rely on when it stood up to the imperial powers of Britain and Russia. And it was really only in 1953 when the United States helped orchestrate the overthrow of Iran's only democratically elected prime minister, Mohammad Mossadegh. It was only then, really, that things really began to change. And the revolution was really, in many ways, the Islamic Revolution was a culmination of some of the, I believe, the deep-seated angst for the United States and other powers, including Britain, overthrowing Mossadegh because he wanted to nationalize Iran's oil industry, and then replacing him, of course, with the Shah. But it seems to me, why have we allowed this to continue on? And the only thing that I can come up with in terms of the United States position, of course, it's this very difficult situation because there is so much mistrust on both sides, is that the United States isn't really willing to give up, because we really haven't gotten them back yet for the 1979 revolution. That there's a part of us that really wants to just get them back. And I think that's kind of part of the American psyche, the American mentality. And it's going to be very difficult, I think, to get over that. But there's always the possibility of changes in the future. Of course, if folks following the presidential races. Senator Obama has said that he would be willing to sit down and talk with Iranian leaders at a time and, quote unquote, a time and place of his choosing. He, of course, has toughened his stance on Iran in the recent months. But Senator McCain has said that, you know, that sitting down with Iran would produce a spectacle, that it's not worth sitting down and talking to their leaders. But I think even Senator McCain, you know, there's always a possibility of wanting to change the current route, because clearly the policies that we have pursued haven't worked. But I think it's really up to us, you know, to weigh in with members, and I think particularly with members of Congress, and really urging them to take a different stance, because in many ways they've provided the political cover for the types of policies that have been pursued by this administration. And I can say, you know, going back to this concurrent resolution, you know, we have seen a change where members of Congress have been educated, and now members of Congress are dropping off their co-sponsorship of this resolution. And this is because people across the country are actually making phone calls. They're meeting with their members in district over the July 4th recess. You know, there really is this distinct possibility, and really, even though this is a non-binding resolution, it's never going to become law, the fact that it's now in the public debate and people are raising this as a real issue, and that it didn't just get steamrolled through Congress, which is what, you know, they had initially thought that it would do, I think that's a very positive sign of the power of people like us to really stand up and make a difference. And you know, Iran is just one issue. There's a number of other issues where we need to be doing it too. But I think, you know, the fact that we have this opportunity, you know, to make a change in the types of policies that we have, I think is really important. And so I'm sure you all are out here tonight, so I know you're probably already engaged, and I'm talking to the choir. But you know, if there's any way to reaffirm, you know, those kinds of actions, they are important to stand up and to speak out and to try to make a difference in terms of U.S. policy. So I'll stop there as a general overview, but I hope that we can have some discussion during the questions and answers too.